Good day, my name is Kostiantyn, and I have been invited to tell you a little bit of what Diia is and why that is very good, why it is the future, and why we should use that. I have frequently had this point of view that Diia is something really scary that collects your data, is going to be using your data in some malicious way, and is going to be using it not for good, but going to use against you. I would like to debunk this myth for you, and I'd like to show you that Diia is a very cool digital product, and what the Ministry of the Digital Transformation does, it's actually the future. So what is our main goal? So we would like to build the most comfortable state in the world. Why and how we can do that? We really want the people not to spend a lot of time in their lines. We really would like to see the people and the citizens, for foreigners as well, the one who are visiting our country. We do not want them to be working with a huge amount of papers that have no sense, that are useless. We want to reach the goal when all of the 100% of the public services that have been provided in Ukraine and will be provided in Ukraine, they will be all available, and they will be all available online, and they will be all available in e-type. As you know, that the President of Ukraine has already signed the draft law on paperless, and starting for the 24th of August, in order to provide administrative services, the people should not ask you for the paper documents. But this is not the tip of the iceberg. What Diia is about? Diia is a one-step window that provides you the access to registers. Right now to some selected registers, but then you will have the access to all of the registers where the data on you or your family is being kept. It might be scary, but that's very cool. Why? Because Ukraine is the first country in the world that has joined the digital passports to the paper passports. What does it mean? You should not carry your paper passport all the time with you. You shouldn't show it all the time. You shouldn't spend the time when you've lost it or where you have stolen this passport. You just need to make this ID card once, and you will have this digital passport in your app. What does it provide you with? It's always with you. It's protected, it's fully protected, it's cannot be copied, it cannot be recreated, and it cannot be passed to a different person without your consent. Moreover, we have made another step in digitalizing documents. We have also worked with the driver license. A lot of people use that as well, and a lot of people use it, and we even had the cases when the police did not took it as valid, but it has all been done in past. Now it's all being provided in the app. Of course, if you have the modern driver license, but you haven't received them like 20 or 30 years ago, just because they haven't been digitalized yet, but we're working on that as well. Starting with the best and the most important thing, the Culvert Certificates, the most important topic right now. You know that the vaccination is being very active in Ukraine, and in order to receive the Culvert Certificate, that's one that's going to be not to carry this piece of paper with you. You have this opportunity to upload it into your app. But what is even more important, that we have signed numerous amounts of agreements with different countries for the acknowledgement of our COVID certificates. So right now, when you are going abroad, you can just take your phone with you, you can show the QR code, and you can scan it, and basically there is the basis for you to cross the border. There are some technological moments, but it's going to be all simplified as soon as possible. What else? In our portal. So what Diia is about? Diia is this two component. There is a portal, the portal that you can reach through the web browser, and the mobile app that you can download to your phone. At our portal, we have more than 5 million unique users, no repeated users. We have more than 70 plus administrative services, and now it's been growing more and more and more. We'll also have the Diia Summit by the end of October. You will see how many services is going to be digitalized and how many services are going to be included into the portal. What is the most available and what are the most demanded is, of course, the registration of businesses. The registration of the legal entity through Diia will take you around 10 seconds. That's really so, because we have taken all of the opportunities for you to make a mistake. We have taken all of the all of the fields that can be provided by the registrator. If you know, or maybe you don't know, I will tell you about that. That right now, right now there's no human participation for the registration of the legal entity. Right now, we've had the state registrator. They might be making some mistakes in that, and you should also deal with this question for quite a long period of time. Right now, we don't have a person there. It's absolutely automatically done. There's an automatic database that creates the application for that, updates the application, and getting it into the register, you can start to become an entrepreneur straight away. What I'm using all the time, and what I recommend to everyone, you know that there is a very simple issue of changing your economical activity codes. In order to change the economical activities code, you should go to the state register to apply the certain form. And even for me, even though I have the experience of 10 years in law, I have never filled this form in. You can find any mistakes there all the time, but it's very simply written for the people who work in justice system, for people who work in different institutions. But for average general citizens, it's really terrible. Right now, you can do that in 2 minutes. You included that, you added some codes, they will be updated, and the next day you're updated. You can conduct your activities according to the legislation and the taxation codes. So basically, that's all very easy. You can see that we can also register the LTD, the limited liability enterprise, or limited liability company, LLC. So basically, you can register that as well. You have to upload the passport that will be signed by the CAP. So you can scan your passport in PDF and you will sign it with your digital signature. That is the only problem. That's not about Diia's fault, it's about the regulatory documents. So you can already create the LLC in Diia. It will not take a lot of problems for you. You will choose the taxation type, you will all get registered, there will be no problem for that. The next step for the businesses would be to include the banks to that, or the financial institutions or the banking institutions, so you will not need to go to any other services or to pay your taxes through other apps. That's all will be there. We have already done it for the private entrepreneurs, so you can fill your declaration through Diia and you can apply your declaration. That's very easy. If you will go through this taxpayer cabinet, that's not the easiest form, and you will have to open Wikipedia and read out through recommendation in order to fill it in. It's all simplified. Here, half of the data is going to be uploaded automatically, and the declaration is going to be provided. You just have to pay the tax. But it will be the next step for us as well to provide the tax payment for in the app. Speaking about the app, this is the most revolutionary thing that is currently available in Ukraine. Why? Because I do compare it to the paper money and cards. So we get used to the paper money, but now I think every one of us is using plastic cards, and most of you have already stepping aside from the plastic cards and you're already providing the payments with the phone. The next stage is the QR codes, our future, where we won't have the paper money, where we won't have the cards, so we are going to have the e-hryvnia, and we're working on that right now. It will happen soon. A lot of our users that are constantly growing, and even after this presentation is going to end, I'm sure that we're going to have a couple of more unique users of Diia application. So please do not be afraid of it. So Diia does not save your personal data. Diia is just a window to different registers. If you believe that after you get registered in Diia that the state, or me personally, I would be able to see something about you that I haven't seen before, that's not the truth. Why? Because all of your data is already included into the state register, into the demographical register, into the register of enterprises, into different taxes registers as well. So Diia is just the door, a port to those registers, and the opportunity to use this data here and now, but will not spending time for additional queries. Right now, the Diia app, and there's many different interfaces, and the documents have been provided in a different way. I haven't made myself a digital ID passport, but it's already there, and the app is already reporting that as well. So the passport, the foreign passport, the insurance policy, the driver's license, Culvert certificates, the birth certificate. So what I meant by that all of this package of the documents that is being provided there in Diia, you don't need those documents to carry with you all the time. You don't need that there. And even the transfer of those documents can be provided in the easiest way by scanning the QR code and sharing whatever I want to tell you. So what is Diia QR? It's an innovative product. So think about that. So when you are coming to your work, when you would like to get employed or you're the employer, think about that for your HR department doesn't need to carry all of those documents, even though that we do not have the paper label books, we have the e-books. But there is a lot of questions that have been left as well. The scan of the passports, codes, the diplomas on education, all of that. What is it all about? We really want to see people when they're going to be coming for the job opportunities. They will just show the QR code for this responsible person. The person would read it out and full document package would already be delivered to the e-database of the employer. It's not just about employment, because it's a very important issue for me when you're hiring people, when you need all of the needed diplomas, all of the needed copies and documents. It will give you the opportunity to share the identified document package, plus none will provide the opportunity to pass these documents with you. The QR code will be available for 3 minutes and no one will be able to basically download it or reuse it. So this is the opportunity for you to pass these documents for the people who need this opportunity. That's something very, very comfortable. What is sharing? When you've started your activities in Diia, I've started to work with many different state institutions according to my work. And you know there is in Cabinet of Minister, you have to order some specific permissions as well. That's a very interesting, good thing, because, you know, I can't carry my paper passport. 10 years ago, it's already been well worn out, and there's a really strange photo that I really don't want to show to people. I have my documents in Diia. The only thing that I need is just to show it on the different site. Then they can scan my codes and they already see the confirmation that that is me, that this document is there, that this document is real, that's not a PDF, that's not something made as a GPJ. So basically that is this document that is supported by the national registers, and I'm being provided I'm being attained from my entrance, and I don't have to carry the documents with me. I do not carry any of the documents with me. I carry it all in Diia. Speaking about the sole interpreters, I'm going to tell you about what are we following next. We don't want only for the people to get registered their enterprises in 10 minutes and to register LLC in 10 minutes as well. Our main goal is to provide the full cycle of services. What do we mean by that? In my personal point of view, when you have filled in 2 or 3 lines, you have received not only the certificate of the state registration or any kind of additional certificate that you need, but for you to receive the full ready-made product with your banking account as well. So how it works right now, you have registered your entrepreneur activities, you are registered your LLC, but you have to take these documents and you have to track it to take it to the bank. For example, the private bank can already see that, but still they can understand that your taxation number is going to be just the same as your enterprise number as well. But speaking about the LLC, that will be much harder to do that. You will need some protocols, status, there's a lot of documents that are needed to provide it to the bank. But what we are looking for is so that the banking establishments would already provide you the IBAN. You provided you with your code to your phone, to your portal. You are registered and you can start your financial activity straight away. The super service. Why? Out of my own experience, I would like to tell it to you. When you have a child born, especially for a man, well, first of all, you will receive $1 million if you will be a man who will bear the life to a child. But then this first 3 or 4 days in the nursery house is very interesting and nervous and pleasurable. But there is one thing that used to be there. It's not really relevant to all of the cities, but I'm going to be based on my own experience here. But on the 3rd or the 4th day, the people tell you that you should go to some certain cabinet, fill in the application and choose the name of your child, and then you will be provided with the birth certificate. What is the point? The point is that the father usually comes to that, and father is not in this kind of situation. He's been affected that when they're asking to show the data of her wife and the year of birth, and they're people sometimes are being puzzled and they're rewriting this registration card numerous times. It's being filled in by the employee who's not there 9 4 6. It is specific days, specific hours in the hospital, in the nursery house. It's all very complicated. You're not really have been sleeping a lot. So, okay, that was a really complicated task for a young father to fill in this car registration card. And there is one satisfaction there as well. When you're given this card, you should also have the signature of your wife, because otherwise this registration card is not going to be accepted and there won't be the certificate provided. So when the father of the child is coming back to this wife, they also have this moment, like basically maybe I should change the name of the child, because the Legolas would sound better than Vasil Petro or whatever, and the wife will never notice, she will just sign it up. So basically what I wanted to say, and then this is registration, this birth certificate, when you have already gone through this health cycles of improving in this registration cycle, in 2 or 3 weeks you're also being told that you will have to get the certificate physically, you will have a message, you will never receive the message, you don't know whether the certificate is ready or not. What is going on right now? You can fill the registration form that is very simple. If you are in the portal, then the data is going to be updated automatically. But you cannot just fill in your registration card for the child there. But we have connected multiple services into this service. So not Diia that provides the birth certificate. The birth certificate is provided by the Ministry of Justice and their department, the Department of the Registration of the Civil Status. But for you to understand that the Ministry of Healthcare and their structural houses, the hospitals or nursery homes, they will provide this filled-in data to this Department of the State Registration. Then that's going to be combined. Everything is much easier through Diia. You fill in the application, you apply it, they will be automatically delivered to the State Register of the Civil Status. Then they will automatically provide the certificate. The certificate is being delivered to the Ukr Post, and the Ukr Post right now is being implemented. Maybe we will be applying to the other delivery services as well. The courier is going to be, there's 2 opportunities. You can order the delivery to your door or to your post office. That's very easy. That's very convenient. First of all, we're taking down all of the opportunities to make any mistakes where you're filling in the application. On the second moment that the change using the name of your child, well, you will be there with your wife to fill it in. So you don't have to spend the time to go, because not all of the people live near the nursery house. It will be delivered to you and they will have received a call. It costs 46 hryvnias to the post office and 61 hryvnias up to door. So that is very cool. I would really advise everyone to use that. Just go ahead and use that. Then the construction sector. One of the most complex issues in Ukraine. Why? Because we're all facing these issues that sooner or later the man should actually build a house and give birth to a son and plant a tree. We have already spoken about the child. Let us talk about the houses. Even being as a lawyer for more than 10 years, I'm not sure that I will be able to fill in the declaration on the construction and to apply all of this. But if you will take a look at the different formats, you will be absolutely drawn by it. You will never know about what is going on. What can be done? So you can provide us different moments. There's not all of them right now there, but the question is, like all of the questions about the construction formats and registration will be in Diia soon. That will definitely simplify the opportunities for people to communicate with the government. It can be done locally, so it is about the villages and town parts of the administration that are dealing with this issue. So sitting at your computer, you're filling in the needed application that it has a minimum of possibility to make a mistake. You have this opportunity not to reapply it, because you will already have the message that your application is being sent and it's being processed. And in online regime, you can see how much time is being taken and what is there. Very cool, very revolutionary, very complex system, and there's a lot of these moments we have to work, but we're at least working in the right direction. Let's get back to the mobile app. Out of all of those benefits that I have already told you about the importance of the mobile documents, there's also the issues of the fines. So the traffic tickets as well. We're all using cars. So some people, sometimes they have the traffic fines as well. But what I wanted to tell you, That's what we have done. We have collaborated with the state enterprises Infotech, the one that administers the traffic fines and traffic tickets. We now have the technical connection, so now the people have this opportunity to see what were the fines and tax tickets and the driving tickets that they have paid or haven't paid. Because sometimes it happens that you don't have the letters, you don't have the notifications provided. You can see automatically if there is that ticket that has appeared for you. If you haven't paid it, then it's already been turned into the executive prosecution. Then you can open Diia, you can open this executive provisions, and you can see the number of this executive provision, when, and how it's been opened. You can respond to it in the real-time regime. Yes, on one hand, we have done nothing new because the register of the executive provisions has already been available, but no one has used it. Only the lawyers, only the one who understood it's available. So what I want to say, everything that I'm talking about that was available already. For just to tell you that, Diia started following you when they have added up all of the services into one app. No, we have just connected all of those things in one place. We have just given you the access to all of those registers that are currently ready to do that. The same thing about the administrative fines. So this is basically what we're speaking about, the traffic tickets. We won't like to pay all of the taxations and administrative services payments in Diia. So all of that will be paid through Diia. You can go to the specific location, to that snap, and we have already done that. You scan your QR code with your phone, you scan the QR code that you needed for the specific code of service, and you already have the services that you have to pay. You're paying it with the phone, and that's it. You're already paid for everything, and this receipt has already been sent back, and you can see that the service has been paid. You should not show this receipt to anyone or redirect it. You have already have it there. You have received the services that you paid for. What we also want to do for Diia Summit in October, we're preparing the full package of the new services that they've provided. For me, the very important is the opportunity to change your registration position. I know from my own practices that it's really hard to change the registration place because there are some problems with the military offices. Everyone knows that. Right now, we're working on that, on getting connected to the registers of the military offices as well. We'll be able to operate their data as well. So getting your wife registered in your own life is not a problem anymore. So what can you do about that right now? So she, in her application, Diia, can send up the address for this apartment that you own at this moment. They send you the request, and in your Diia, you can see a request or notification. You approve it, and that's it. The person has changed their residential and the registration position. You should not go anywhere. There's no books or queries that you have to pay for. Yes, we still have these practices when we have had those house books there, but if we're speaking about the new moments, then everything is being done in a very fast pace, high quality, and no problems to do that. Speaking about some tangible things, this is the Diia signature, the qualified e-signature. I do understand that a lot of people, they have these issues, and I do believe that you all use the keys that have been generated by the private bank. So you have generated the key, but you can use it. But this is the file carrier, and now you have it all in the phone. It's being generated by us. It's being generated. This is my department that is in the structure of the state-owned enterprise. It's being generated by us. It's our own electronic qualified electronic signature that we actually are responsible for. So in order to sign the document that is needed by now, you do not have this flash card, you don't need a computer, you can do it all with a phone. The good example about that is to go to your e-cabinet of a driver. You can go through the flash code, through token, and through Diia signature. You can just open your Diia. You can using the qualified signature, and you have been sent to the Diia application if it's been installed for you. You also provide it with your signature, and you'll be into the cabinet. That's all very simple, but it's all very simple for the people, for the person that uses it. We know that Diia is the best app right now in Ukraine and everyone uploads it. So what I also wanted to tell you, that Diia is constantly being updated. We're constantly updating it. There are some technical moments that we're trying to work on as well, but we have to understand that it's about future. You shouldn't be afraid about this product. You shouldn't be afraid to use those services that the state provides you with. Because the paper documents and the personal visits to the providers of the administrative services, they're definitely going to make your life harder, and not just your life harder. What we are going through, that it's all will be left in the past. It's all about the people, about your desire to use modern technologies and for you to be up till time, for you to be timely. Speaking about Diia, overall, again, Diia is being integrated to the multiple systems already. You can take a look at that. Okay, maybe not into every bank, but there's a lot of financial institutions in Kiev that who already work with Diia, and I'm speaking about the documents that can be provided by Diia. A lot of educational establishments, medical establishments, the touristic agencies, the financial institutions, they already work with Diia. You show Diia, that's it. They work out with you. You don't need any additional certificates to prove your identity. A lot of people, they have these questions about your identity code. There is a very small, tiny piece of paper that cannot be carried away. I don't know, maybe someone has laminated that, I don't know. But it seems that this number of numbers is important. Why can we step out of it with the paper? Because you have to understand that under every administrative service, under any documents that you have had in Diia, there's a million of the regulatory acts there. So there's different normative and regulatory acts there. So in order for all of us to take down the paper identification code, we have to have a lot of legal work done. There has to be a lot of changes for the huge number of regulatory acts, which is very complicated. And all of the next services are being connected to that. So we're doing that simultaneously. We're not taking down paper. We're not canceling paper. We're giving the people the opportunity to use something new, progressive and contemporary in the same time. You can see our partners here, and just to add it up all together, I just wanted to say that go digital, because it's worth it. Thank you. Thank you very much, Kostiantyn. Okay, dear friends, please, Kostiantyn, stay with us yet. I don't know, ask for the questions, wait for the questions. And as a moderator, I think I will start and asking you with the first questions. You know that our forum is about the human-oriented approach, and we are saying that the main important needs for their people is about that. So, how Diia uses this approach? Well, everything is very easy, actually, because, the Diia has come to life because we have been mostly human-oriented. I was invited here. When I was invited here, people asked me, tell us about what was before Diia and what happened when Diia appeared. It's a really hard question because it's really hard to say that we didn't have the administrative services before Diia was there. It was there. Just to say that Diia has created new administrative services. No, that's not true. We haven't created anything, but we have created something that wasn't there before. We have given the opportunity for the people to use those services, for the people who might not, for example, have the higher education, who don't have 10 years in the working legal office, who have no opportunity to be wasting time in front of the offices of the doctor or provided 10 times to give the documents that are needed. We're just saying that the state should be more open to people. It has to be clearer. This is something that we are reaching on those the first services that we have provided, the mobile app. We wanted the people to spend as less time as possible, and when we have been doing that, we have been tracking how much time will it take us to create the individual enterprise, because we had a lot of tryouts to create this. We had the service from the Cabinet of Ministries. I can't recall how it's called. There was the Rec Cabinet for you to get registered there as well. You can create even the civil society organization by just signing it with a key by 2 people. And what is the most important? It doesn't really matter whether these people will be in the same location, so we should not go to the notary office altogether with their 10 of you. You just need to have the qualified e-signature, and you can send it it with a link. So it's much easier. To create a legal enterprise, you should not get people to the same notary office to collect all of the signatures. You can be located anywhere, wherever you are, in different parts of the world, not just in the Ukraine. But you can create a legal entity in Ukraine, pay the taxes, and be your business activity. So that is what I call the client-orientedness and human-orientedness towards citizens. When the state creates the conditions for the business making, not only by mitigating the taxes by creating new banks or services, but when the state is already saying that opening business in Ukraine is just as simple as that, 2 seconds, and it works. Okay, thank you. I think we have the first question. We have really active hand here asking the question. Good day, my name is Maxim, and I am from the Ukrainian Independent Center for the Political Research. Thank you very much, Kostiantyn, for your presentation. I've got registered in Diia right now. No, I have been using it, but I have understood that I'm not using all of the options in Diia, so that would have been a very useful presentation for me. But basically, you're right now in a room where we have the representatives of the charitable organization and CSO. So trying to get back to our needs, I wanted to ask you, when should we expect the opportunity for the online registration of CSO on Diia and for the charity organization to be registered in Diia as well? Yes, you've said yourself already that there is some kind of a website for the Ministry of Justice, for the House of Justice, that is the opportunity to register the civil society organization online. But it's really organized in a complex way, but it hasn't been updated for recently because everyone said that we're all working on Diia, and that their site is periodically trying to be closed. But the people said, like, oh, but the online registration. Oh, but already the entrepreneurs can be registered that, and the LLC can be registered that, but it's not interesting for us to register CSOs. So, but we really would like to see that, the CSOs and the charitable organization to be registered on Diia as well, because it's much easier for us than the LLCs, because we do not need the notary support for the signature. So we're almost the same form as the private interpreters. So basically, entrepreneurs. So basically, the statistics say that there's not a lot of CSOs, but there's around 3,500 new CSOs. So we have 85,000 CSOs in Ukraine, and periodically we're changing the statutes, residential address. So there is a lot of services that we are also using to change the data in the register. So I think that will be in the normal scope of services, actually. So there is a big request and big question. Let us dream all together. When will we be able to see the e-registration of the CSO and charitable organization in Diia, and how can we help to make it faster? So, okay. Thank you, Maxim. The greatest question. Yes, that is the coolest level of question to be posed. Thank you. The question is very simple on one hand, and on the other hand is really hard. It's easy for me to speak with you because I am a lawyer as well, and I have been registered as all of that and registered the CSOs, and I've never done it from the very first time, even though it really feels like, that's easy. Registration card and protocol, the statute, that's all in there. But then you have to provide the status of being a non-commercial organization. That's very cool. But still. Okay, what you have to understand that it's, first of all, it's not about Diia, but it's about the desire for those state institutions to get into Diia. So it's not really hard. It's hard to do with technical stuff, with the API and stuff, but most of the work here is still about the legal base. To register the CSO and charity, there is a different moment of the legal documents. If about the entrepreneurs, it's about the law of the registration of the sole entrepreneurs and LLCs, then it's one legislation. Then there are different documents and different laws on the charity organization and on the CSOs. It's possible to do that, but we need to have the changes and the amendments to the regulatory base. And just to sign that together with the state registers that are doing that are, for example, not located in the SNAPs, but there are separately, because it's a separately registered type of the registration as media and the political parties, so they're a separate type of registration. And then to make those changes and to add it up, to give them the opportunity that you can add up, you can register through Diia, because technology-wise, there are the same processes. But we have got to this idea with the sole entrepreneur, that entrepreneur, just for us to get it to charitable organization and see yourself, would then not to be the person included? Then it's really hard. So this is a very hard question, basically. But the most challenges in the regulatory documents, but not on the Diia's desire to do something. So I'm sure that, speaking on lobbying, if we will have this question, if you will pose this question to the Ministry of Justice by the specific department, then why not? Okay, you can consider that this question has been raised, so I think we'll all together will be able to write an e-petition to the Ministry of Justice that will just tell him when I'm going to meet him that the state enterprise Diia is ready to do this functionality, so he just have to sign the letter of request. Yes, thank you, Maxim, from all of us on our behalf as well. Okay, so I see more questions coming here. So, good day, my name is Alexander, and having the ID card instead of the passport, we have to have the additional formula with our residential improvement. So when we will already end up this documents mass, when we'll be able to work with the e-documents. For example, our today's forum has also said that Diia is not accepted. Only bring your documents. Why? Okay, that's a very good question, because basically, it seems like we have got digital, but we had another paper coming up as well. So, okay, why there is a problem to this moment? It's just that on one hand, we have the taxation code in one moment, and we have forgotten about the other things, but it's still being deciphered in NFC. But the problem is that to read out of this card, we don't have the things to do. We have already provided the information to the card, but we have no equipment to read it out. Just to give you a secret, I think we'll be offering this service on Diia Summit, so we will present it soon, and I'm sure that we'll be able to represent it there. Because you will not need to have this anymore, because this is basically only improvement of where you live. Why would you need that if you will where do you live that? So basically, if you'll have this will you have the QR code on the other hand, and the accepted organization would only open Diia, scan your QR code, and everything will be here. So the next time when you'll be here, I'm sure that we will work this out, and we will work this moment out, and all of your documents, they will be already presented by the QR code. Okay, 4 questions. Good. Let's start with these 4 questions. I'm sure that these questions are going to be more or less in the context of our forum, so please. Hi, my name is Bogdan. I'm from the Engage program, but I have a question. You have a very huge database. I think you have millions of users. So how do you collect the feedback from them? And how do you use it then in order to update your products? And the other question is that you have shown the slide when you're getting a lot of services to be prepared. So how do you test it? How do you develop it? You have the specific focus group you're testing out with your collective, or how do you do that? Well, thank you very much for this question. I will start with the focus group, speaking about the people. So basically, speaking about the IT, then is being tested by the developers. Speaking about the focus groups of the people, then, for example, in Culvert Certificates for the additional systems, we're choosing the volunteers who are going to be into the testing environment, and we're starting to work the main bugs or the main problems or the systems with them. Right now, we have a lot of queries and complaints for Diia about everything, basically about everything. But why that happens? Because people believe that if the Culvert certificate is not being shown in Diia, they believe that the Diia is to blame and their address us. But the Culvert certificate is a big service as well. First of all, you should have gone to your family doctor. You should have made the right vaccination, and only in this case the COVID certificate is going to be created. And even if you have received the COVID certificate in paper, printed out, and unfortunately it happens in Ukraine as well, it might not be included into Diia because it will not be real, because it will be faked, it will be forged. You know, there are some cases when it can be provided it without the real vaccination, and it will not be seen in Diia because there's multiple interconnected systems together. So that is how we're testing it, and we're testing it all with users as well. After the focus groups, we are straight away trying to use all of that, and we're trying to provide this product for the mass usage. Why? Because every day of use is a plus for the people. Even if it's not going to be the most high quality activities, and you can rebuild it all together. How can we do that? If you will open, for example, the Diia app, and if you will get to the final moment of the connection, you will see that there is the feedback form. You can communicate with us into any messages or the chatbot. But for you to understand, the chatbot is not about the computer program. It's about the real people who are sitting there who know the real services. Every service has their own real people, and every day we're basically processing for more than 1,000 or 2,000 simultaneous dialogues that happen in Diia with, this is the first line of support. We believe that the first line of support is just the person who picks up from the other side and tells you for a lot of time, or just says like, okay, I have signed up your question, I will readdress it to someone else. You can write into our chat and you will have the answer straight away. Maybe not straight away because we have a lot of flow in the chat, but we have a real person sitting there, and you have the real opportunity to provide the feedback on every service that you have used. And basically, that is all very harsh and complex IT system that lives in Diia to excite the data, to analyze the answers and feedback, to provide the quality and quantity indicators. Everything is being done there. If you have asked, for example, 10 times for the very same service, it has to be approved, or might be a problem with a button or something that hasn't been written in the right way. You can intervene with the work of Diia by just writing us a message of what's something that is inconvenient for you, or something that doesn't work properly. We have a specific development team, dedicated development team who are online in the process, are going to be working on improving the products, on changing the color of the button or line, or making it easier, because I have been using it multiple times. I've addressed my support service. I do not need to write it into the chat. I can actually, go into the neighboring office and say something doesn't work, please improve that. But you can use that with no problems. Yes, okay, thank you very much. We have online questions, please. Yes, we have a lot of questions online. No, let us make just the two the most interesting. Yes, okay, the two most important and strategic questions that are not about improving the service paths. The first question from Dmitro Lobanov, and he asks, how do you choose the services that you digitalize? First of all, what are the principles? What do you use? And the second question from Ksenia Shumanska, how do you provide the security of data? Thank you. How do we choose the services? How do we choose the services that will be digitalized in Diia first? There are two aspects to that. First of all, we need to have the readiness for this minister or state enterprise that is responsible for that if we would like to introduce the service. Diia is ready to launch all of the services there, but technically that is a really harsh process, integrating the databases, integrating all of the settings, so all of our systems to be working simultaneously and for all of our registers to be working simultaneously. It's really hard to set up. It's not just about the technical side, we also have the legal side as well. First of all, we're choosing according to the readiness of the ministries, whether the ministries are ready to provide us with the services. Then we are choosing the urgency, as far as you understand that the Culvert Certificates are of the higher priority among all of the other services, because the pandemic is now, and people, well, when they wanted to have some mitigation coming on, then people would like to go abroad to have some rest. So yes, you can use that. You can use this Culvert Certificate straight away. We have rewritten the huge amount of the legislative base, and we have come up with agreement with the different countries that our Culvert Certificate is acknowledged by the other countries as well. So we got connected to their databases as well and to their legislation, and we got it implemented so we can acknowledge our digital certificates in their countries as well. So we are responding by the demand of the society and according to the readiness of the state enterprises to participate in Diia. Speaking on the security of the personal data, that is a relevant question. For me as a person who works in Diia, then I'm tracking different types of international trends, so on and so forth. So we have to understand that this is a question of time when all of the personal data of all of the people will be open data. Oh, trust me, to be a afraid that someone sees your personal data, right now you can Google everything. You can Google everyone. If you have been registered as the sole entrepreneur, then basically there's no need for you. It's very easy to find your telephone number, or it's easy to find your tax code. What do the personal experts on cyber security and personal data say? You should not be afraid of personal data. You should use your personal data wisely, and you should protect your personal data wisely. And for the state to protect and the administrator to protect your personal data. Diia doesn't have your personal data because your personal data are being kept in different registers that Diia receives. People believe that Diia is kind of a source of evil, but no. Your data has always been kept in different registers. It's just that Diia now has the access to those registers, and you are able right now to collect all of the data from different registers in one place. So all this personal data has already been included into registers before, but the Diia app or Diia portal, they have a specific certificate of compliance from our needed institutions. We are constantly developing the new mobile app, and we're developing and adding up the new services for the portal. We're updating our security model as well. It's more of a technical question, but we have the specific certificates from the commissions, although this is a specific certificate that provides the security of the product. You know that we had the bag bounty right now. Last year we have launched this program when everyone with the money that we provide can try to hack Diia. If you succeed, then you will be paid with an award. So right now we have started this campaign from 27th of July to 27th of January last year. We've tried to invite professionals and ITs. So right now each and every one of you can get registers or find the bag in Diia and to receive the real money that will be paid. So please try it out. If you'll be able to do that, that's good. Okay, thank you very much, friends. So this is a good engagement model. Okay, we have time for 3 more questions, please. We had another hand, please, here on the left. Hi, my name is Zhanna Solovyova. I'm coming from Zhytomyr. I represent the organization The Modern Format. First of all, thank you, Kostiantyn. You have basically opened our eyes about Diia even more. In Zhytomyr, we're currently we're trying to launch a business, Diia, and we communicate with Artem Pavlov. But what I have heard from you, and that's that Diia is there to register. I have logical questions, but can you deregister? Can you close your enterprise? Can you close your LLC through Diia? Yes, of course we can do that. But you know, basically when people are closing down the businesses, people do not really like to talk about that. Because I do believe if people, for example, love the businesses, then they go into the state services, that is a good thing. But if they close the businesses because business failed, that's okay, not a good example, and people do not like to talk about that. But yes, you can do that. You can close your enterprise. There will be no problem with that. But the only thing you have to understand that out of practice, I will just tell you that closing your enterprise for the tax office and for the registration, that's 2 complete differences. Yes, I understand. To close your enterprise in Diia, there's no problem of that. You filled it in, and that's okay. But with the tax offices, if you didn't have your taxation paid or whatever. So this is a question of the integration of the taxes officers, and basically so if we're going to dig a little bit deeper to that, the accounts of the treasury, they're changing really frequently, and in order to find your account, you will need to spend half a year. When you have found the place where you should pay your taxes, that's already changed. So you know, I even have my problems with the enterprises, even though they have paid, but they have paid to the wrong accounts, and they cannot close their enterprise right now. So it's all in a complex. When we are making the service in the full scope from the very beginning, from the bank instance, and you're going to be paying it all automatically, and your treasury office will see all of the payments, and the taxation office will see all of the payments, because the bank will provide the full right reports, then closing the enterprises will be just the same and easy. There is a very relevant question, and we have launched the pilot project with a couple of the banks, and we do believe that by the end of the year we're going to do that properly. The question with the tax office is really harder because it's about treasury as well, and treasury is a specific organization, the specific accounting there as well. So it's much harder with them, but we're basically dealing with this question as well. Yes, thank you very much. And almost last questions, please, 2 last questions. Good day, my name is Svetlana, and I have this question on Diia. As far as you all know, Ukraine is not fully covered with mobile connection. What can the people and the activists and the citizens do if the Diia doesn't really work on the mobile phones with the mobile connection there? So they cannot get registered, they can do nothing, they cannot show the QR codes, they need to have it all in paper. A greatest question. Thank you very much. A greatest question. Well, first of all, that's not about the mobile connection, yes, but I do understand what you mean. Right now, the Ministry of the Digital Transformation is discussing the issues because, first of all, we have this full direction, the accessible internet, when we are trying to provide a better internet penetration to these small cities, villages. We are trying to provide the normal internet connection. We're speaking about the high speed and broadcast, high speed and broadwave connection for the schools and the places of the socially important infrastructure. Mobile connection is a private sector. We have no connection to that, but we have sent a memorandum with the mobile operators that they should cover all of the Ukraine, and they're working on this direction. Even if you've had the ride on the metro, then you can see that there is mobile internet in all of the stations of the metro of the Ukrainian undergrounds. Speaking about the coverage with the mobile connections and thus the mobile internet, the overall coverage of Ukraine, then we have had a memo with mobile operators. They're moving into this direction, but I can't say that we can influence them in any way, because it won't be fair if we will say that we will build it up tomorrow. It's quite clear for all of us that they keep on moving to that direction, but there is another side of the medal as well, because the equipment for the mobile operator is way expensive. They buy it in dollars and euros, but the average receipt for the mobile connection is quite low. We have really cheap mobile connection in Ukraine, even though we're paying for around 100 or 200 hryvnias a month, but it's quite cheap still. And the costs of the final receipt for the mobile connection is connected to the welfare of the overall population. It's quite clear that you can ask people to pay more when they don't have the good income as well. So one connects with another, and it's really hard for the mobile operators to build up the really good infrastructure if the terms of its profitability and the returns is quite unclear. So that's not about Diia in this question. Okay, the final question. Who believes that there's a question about the human-oriented design? Diia, it has to be the last question for Kostiantyn. Okay, Victoria, we have had a question from you, but let us ask for the people who haven't spoken yet. Hello, for the Center for the Political and Legal Reforms. My name is Ksenia, and I already have the certificate on vaccination. But the question is from my side today about, because again, we're speaking about the inclusion today, and the question is about people with disabilities. Have you thought or have you considered in Diia what are the perspectives of additional technical opportunities for Diia so that would be simplified in use for people with disabilities? Yes, thank you. In my story, I have forgotten to tell you, because we all know that we also have the pension cabinet as well, that has been working for quite a long period of time. I have started with this pension cabinet because people with disabilities who are being provided with a pension, there's also a huge amount of people who can use this cabinet to see all of these calculations, the sides of pension and all of that. Even for us, the people without disability and non-pensioners, we should use it because we can see how our employer is paying our unified social payments to that, but it's going to be there. But speaking on Diia, the pension cabinet, sooner or later, I will just call it as the pension services, sooner or later they're going to be included into Diia. And in Diia Summit, we're going to be presenting part of those services as well, together with the driver license, together with the students' tickets and the technological passport for the car. We're going to have the pension registration as well, and we will definitely have the certificate of disability as well, of how it's called in the right way, because we understand that people can use the different types of discounts by using that, buying tickets or going through the public transport. There's a lot of things that require the certificate and the acknowledgement of disability. Speaking about some additional, let's put it, the physical obstacles of using this app. So you know that the application is very easy. It's not that much about Diia, but it's about the mobile device that you are using to access Diia. So whether it's going to be the scanning of a finger or a face, whether you're choosing the password of access, you can choose any possible way for you so that the people with disability would be easier to use that if you meant about that. Okay, thank you, dear friends. We're really grateful to Kostiantyn for your work today and for your today's presentation. Thank you very much, Kostiantyn.